watching Superskum.com. I'm here with Chris and Diego of the Colorado-based power metal band CELLADOR. They've been nice enough to give us some of their time, answer a few questions. So thanks, guys, for that.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, so in 2011, you released the Honor 4th EP. How's the fan reaction been?
Very good so far. As you know, some older fans may have noticed, or people who have been following the band, there was a long period of hiatus. Band did a bunch of stuff a few years back from 2006 to roughly 2009, recording, touring, everything on a worldwide scale, you know, building a fan base. Great times. We went through a little bit of a hiatus. We had a lot of fans wondering what's happening with the band. The band sort of went into sort of a cult-like status where, you know, like people are wondering if we were a band or weren't a band, if we broke up or not. And then just kind of gradually we sort of appeared again with first demo tracks and then finally actual released versions of these 4 new songs that had been recorded during that sort of the end of that down period time. What is now the Honor 4th EP. And so since we've actually officially released it, the songs have been online and downloadable since 2011, but due to legal reasons with contracts that we had, we weren't able to actually physically release it until 2013, actually just a few months ago. So we have it now online for sale. It's everywhere. We have a couple new distribution offers coming up for the album, or EP if you want to call it that. And yeah, things are looking pretty good. We've got some decent fan reaction. We're actually still sort of in PR mode for this EP. It's still kind of getting into the hands of a lot of the webzines and a lot of the radio stations. So feedback's been pouring in gradually, and we're very satisfied with what we've been hearing so far. We're really excited.
As you just mentioned, the band has emerged from a prolonged hiatus. How are things going with this new, I guess, new version of CELLADOR? Well,
I can tell you internally that it's been nothing but complete improvement. The band is very focused now. The lineup was specifically assembled looking for certain traits and certain abilities that would come together to form a very solid, cohesive lineup for not just the short but long term as well, to get back to recording not just one more album but many albums, and to be able to tour again at any time we want, you know, just be a full-time band on a full-time basis. So I would say after a hiatus going from, it took a long time, you know, we had a lot of auditions coming in. It was a very long and sort of a difficult, hard process to find the right people, but you know, persistence pays off. Finally got a new lineup together, and things have been going very well so far.
The new version of CELLADOR, you've taken over the vocal duties. How's that been going?
It took a lot of hard work and effort. You know, originally I actually didn't want to take up the vocals at all. We spent a long time auditioning singers, posting ads, trying to look for the right guy for us, and we went through so many people. We wanted to keep things local. We had Europeans responding that just sounded amazing, but we couldn't do the long-term thing, and nobody was able to relocate, you know, as difficult as that is. Finally, you know, once we found Caleb, who was our second guitar player, it was just the 4 of us practicing over and over and over again without any singer. We have a full, our rehearsal space has got the full PA and everything, mic stands, microphones. We got no singer. Finally, JT, my bass player, finally says, you know, dude, you're already demoing all the vocals for the new songs. You just need to try to do it yourself alongside guitar. We're just going to be down here practicing for weeks or months or years on end until you do it. We're just not going to find anybody. And so he kind of really broke me down. It was kind of like a lecture he gave me one day, and really broke me down. And I just like, okay, fine. Next practice, I'm going to come in. I'm going to practice the stuff at home every day, and then we're going to start doing it from there. And it was very it was a very frustrating process, I guess is the easiest way to put it. It's exhausting at the same time at the speed of the music we play, bringing in vocals. I mean, I was dripping wet in sweat at practice all the time, dripping wet, throwing out my voice, losing stamina, screaming and yelling at these guys, venting at them because I was getting so frustrated with myself. I'd get embarrassed because I'd go way out of key. But, you know, these guys just kept their mouths shut. We all just kept practicing. We're all persistent. And eventually it started getting to the point that it's at now. It's still a work in progress always. But I really appreciate that these guys were able to work with me on it and bring everything up to speed.
CELLADOR is a power metal band, a style of metal that is traditionally not found in the U.S. Who were some of the band's influences, and how did they affect CELLADOR's style?
Well, when I was in middle school is when I probably got into heavy metal music. It was originally a lot of the American stuff. I had a circle of friends that was sort of listening to a lot of, well, initially the sort of the poppier metal bands that you were seeing in the 90s, the Korns, the Korn, the new metal style bands. But then we moved quickly into more underground extreme stuff, you know, with the gradual emergence of the internet, using the websites, internet forums to find new metal bands. I gradually got more into the European scene, me and a circle of friends. That's how we sort of discovered the melodic death bands from Scandinavia, and then also the power metal bands out of Germany, Sweden, Norway, Finland, things of that sort. You know, it was just a gradual process. I guess I sort of tend towards melodic styles of music more so than started off with the more brutal stuff, but sort of tended towards the melodic stuff, and just over time, you know, just really got into the tradition, the big names, the Halloweens, the Stradivariuses, the Blind Guardians, the Gamma Rays. I kind of still can call myself a heavy metal encyclopedia to this day. I'm always still discovering new bands. I'm always looking for new melodic metal bands out of Europe. The list can go on and on if you're asking for influences, but the big German bands are definitely going to be up there in influences, including Halloween, who we're playing with tonight.
All right, now can you give us some insight into the meaning of the band's name?
We get that question a lot, and it's kind of it was a spontaneous thing. The band was originally called Apostate. It was before we played any shows. We were just sort of a basement metal band at the time. There used to be this old website called mp3.com. It was a precursor to your MySpaces and all that. I was signing up for the band, and I had heard about the J.R.R. Tolkien reference of cellar door being a beautiful combination of words, and I just kind of wanted to roll with that. At the time, we were trying to envision sort of like a super melodic power metal band, like very keyboard heavy, like a Stradivarius style and like a Stradivarius Antarctica style. That's what we were envisioning at the time, and I thought Cellador was a fitting name for a band of that style. So initially it was spelled C-E-L-L-A-D-O-O-R, two O's. But actually our very first show we ever played under that name, it was at the Ranch Bowl in Omaha, Nebraska. And they misspelled the name, actually. They forgot one of the O's. So we just rolled with it, basically. I just said, dude, that's a unique name. You can Google that. Nothing's going to come up with us, so let's roll with that.
And initially, also, the first album didn't even have keyboards, but we just recently started. I just recently joined the band. On the Honor 4th EP, you can hear, would be the first time you'll hear keyboards in Cellador. And now we're applying it to all the new music as well. You'll hear it in the new album, everything in the future.
So I suppose you could say we're sort of moving back to sort of that initial vision that we had.
What's the best way for fans to access your music?
Well, it's 2013. I'd probably say all of the music streaming sites. We are available on basically everything. I think last time I counted 60 or 65 plus streaming music sites were available on your iTunes, Amazon, Xbox. What else is there? The Spotify's nowadays. I'm not quite caught up on all of them. Those are the ones that I personally use. But we have a new distribution deal, and actually a second one that we're signing with coming up as well. Everything's available there. You know, another good place that you could buy our music if you want the physical CDs, you could always just buy it directly from us. We have an internet web store that ships daily. You can have the CD right at your house quicker than even, Amazon or anything else. So that as well. We have a couple other, for Europeans and East, Japanese and all that, a couple different routes as well. We actually have a few copies of Honor 4th being distributed in Japan at a couple music shops. So it's going to depend on the country, but around here or in the States, North America, you can't go wrong with all the streaming sites or just buying directly from us at our merch store.
Now, you guys were originally formed in Omaha, Nebraska. How has the move from Omaha to Denver affected the band?
It's a much bigger city, so therefore a much bigger scene and a little bit more opportunities. It's not as competitive as a city like LA, but Denver's got so many venues to play at, so many bands and promoters to network with, so many radio stations and magazines, and I think it's been nothing but an improvement for a band like us. There is definitely a melodic metal following here. There's bands that we've actually become very good friends with that we've played many shows with now. We're very excited. We're happy to be a Denver-based band now.
So what does the future hold for Cellador?
We are currently recording for our next album. We have been approached by a couple folks in industry that about distributing us in the future. And so we're actually recording right now for them with hopes of releasing it at the end of this year, if not early next year. So album, we got a couple high-profile shows booked, opening for some bands coming into town or regionally. We got a couple festivals already scheduled for 2013. The only one I can mention right now is the Rock Harvest in Baltimore, Maryland. That'll be the second half of 2014. That'll be a good show. A couple more as well that I can't announce right now. But we're sort of in album recording mode right now, I would say.
Right. Something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
All right, so this is your time. If you have any messages you want to say to your fans, feel free to do so.
Thanks so much for keeping up with us, and even in our down and up time, Cellador is back. We got new music, working on a new album. Thanks for checking us out. Check our websites, Cellador on Facebook, Cellador on YouTube, Cellador.com, brand new website that we just actually put up earlier this year. Thanks so much for checking us out. Stay metal. Rock on.
All right, I'd like to thank Chris and Diego from Cellador for their time. You've been watching Superskum.com.